Now, when they optioned this, how did it all work? Did Hollywood call you? Did you know someone?
I got an email out of the blue from someone saying, I love your book. I'd love to make a movie. I've never made a movie before, but I'd love to make this movie.
I've never made a movie before. Red alert.
Her husband was was at that time the head of MGM Studios.
Oh, that
and
helps.
Her partner was Wendy Murdoch. So,
that helps.
that's Fox Studios. So those two women.
And call her today and find out what's going on with the hacking scandal.
It's interesting. I just spent 3 days with her in Los Angeles and New York, and it never once came up. She is an extraordinary woman. I mean, no matter what is going on in that family or with that story,
with the empire,
the way she can compartmentalize, I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Really?
I mean, just pretty extraordinary.
How interesting. Focus.
Yeah, very focused.
Yes, and that's a movie in itself. The demise.
Someone else can make that movie.
Of World News Today or whatever it is. That's another story. So back to your movie, or the movie, based on your book.
Right.
Adapting it, did you get to be part of that? Because sometimes Hollywood snaps it and makes their own story.
Well, and in fact, they did do a little of that. So they sent me every version of the script, and I would write these long emails about what I thought, what I liked, what I didn't like. The part that is based on the book is absolutely true to the book, completely true to the book. And it's the most incredible thing for me to see these characters, these scenes, these emotions, my words up there on the screen. But they have added a modern part to the story. So if I tell you that there's a scene with Hugh Jackman singing and dancing in Snowflower and the Secret Fan, you'll know that there have been some major changes.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, did you meet him?
No.
Well, you
should.
should.
Why didn't I get to have like the casting couch or something like that?
Well, sometimes writers aren't honored enough, as you know.
But anyway, they added this modern story of friendship. That's a kind of a parallel story that takes place in Shanghai today. And as you said earlier, we all have a friend who is so close to us, who we rely on. It doesn't matter if it was 200 years ago in a small village or right now today in a major city.
Very much so. So the premiere, were you there?
Oh yes, I was there. I walked the red carpet and everything, and they were saying, Lisa, what are you wearing? It was hilarious.
I bet. What were you wearing?
A Carolina Herrera dress.
Oh, Carolina Herrera.
Then they asked me what my shoes were, and I had to take off my shoe and look.
No
so
Jimmy Choo girl, you?
I hadn't done this before.
Obviously not. But what other movie stars beside you did you run into? The Nicole Kidmans? I read a story you may have.
I actually had my picture taken with Nicole Kidman, and I just, could not believe it. But yeah, there were a lot of big stars there, and it was sort of an odd assortment of stars, and it was crazy.
Well, you live in Brentwood, right, in California?
In Los Angeles, but that doesn't mean I have my photo taken with Nicole Kidman every day.
Probably not.
Never.
It's a nice neighborhood, as they say, except for that OJ guy, but he's gone.
That's true. Well, he's gone.
He's well gone. Back to your other books, of all of them, the Shanghai Girls, the Snowflower and the Secret Fan, and this new one, is there one that you particularly enjoyed writing?
The thing is they're all pretty hard to write when you're writing them. I was really inspired a few years back when I wrote Peony in Love by these women writers in the 17th century in China who believed you need to cut to the bone to write. And I really believe that that's true, that you need to go to this very dark, deep, hard part of yourself to write the kinds of stories that I write, certainly.
Sure, absolutely.
And so that isn't an easy thing to wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to that place. But I feel very honored to do it. So I think at any time, it's the one that I'm working on right at that moment that is the one that seems to be the hardest or the most difficult emotionally. And then, of course, once it's done, it's kind of like having a baby. You forget, and then you think, oh, let's start the new one.
Do you go through any baby blues?
You do. You have this moment.
Post-book
Yeah,
blues?
but then that's why I always try to start up right away. I don't start writing right away, but I'll start doing the research because from the time you finish a book until it comes out, it's another 9 months, a year. And so if I can already get into the next novel and start doing that research, I might not be writing it yet, but to start that research, I know that whatever happens with that the book that's just coming out, I'm already on to the next one.
Yes, and you have a mother who's a writer.
Yes.
A famous writer. She
Yes.
has a pen name too,
Yes.
as I recall.
No, it's just her actual name, Carolyn See.
Carolyn, but didn't she write under Monica Highland?
Oh, well, we both did. We and our friend John. So the three of us worked, used that name of Monica Highland for the three of us.
Okay, for the three of you. But back to your mom, Carolyn See,
Right.
Washington Post for many years,
Right.
feature writer.
And many, many novels.
Many,
and
many
nonfiction
novels and all of that. Does she give you advice about writing?
You know, I do exactly what she has done, and also her father, who was also a writer, my grandfather, which is to write 1,000 words a day. And I think that this is something that anyone out there who wants to write, they can do. That's just 4 pages a day.
Right.
And at the end of a week, you'll have a chapter. If you can't do 1,000 words, just do 500. That's just 2 pages. At the end of the week, you'll have 10 pages. At the end of 2 weeks, you'll have a chapter.
Exactly. And discipline is so important because you're by yourself.
That's right. And so if you just do that first, you know, before anything else, if you just write your 1,000 words, you're going to get the book
Sure. Grab a coffee
done. Yes.
first.
Tea for me.
Oh, tea for you. Okay, and then start writing. So you will be tonight, Golden City Restaurant in Victoria.
Yes. It's
At
a big
6:30.
banquet.
Is it a reading, a banquet?
It's a banquet, and then I'll be talking about the new book, Dreams of Joy.
How great. And Snowflower and the Secret Fan, of course,
It's
in
just
theaters.
out, yeah.
How great. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Lisa See, her new book, Dreams of Joy.